Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about an upcoming very brief heat wave that's going to be hitting the United States. This is going to be for the beginning first 5 days of May. Now, before I get started with this video though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather related content, and also make sure to share this video with your friends, family, and social media. Now, for today's comment of the day, I want to know, what is the hottest temperatures you've ever experienced? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. Alright, now, let's get started, and we're taking a look actually at this morning. As of Thursday, April 30th, we do have some colder than normal conditions in some of the areas where we're mostly expecting our heat wave to impact. Areas like Texas, Kansas, and some of the areas in the southeast and deep south as well, all looking at colder than normal conditions. The only areas in the eastern half of the United States dealing with warmer than normal conditions is the eastern seaboard. Let's take it to about 2 a.m. tonight, and you can see that things really begin to change though. We see a lot of those warmer than normal conditions start to move in for the central United States, so areas like Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, those are areas where mostly we are expecting to see our heat wave as we head a little bit further into May. Now, you do see that we do have some colder than normal conditions for a lot of the eastern United States, really beginning to head from west to east, and these conditions are really going to be moving in a pretty progressive pattern. And what that means is that it's moving from west to east, and it's going to come in and it's going to head out as quickly as it headed in. Now, we're about to move on towards about Friday evening, where we're going to take a look at when that heat wave can start to impact areas like Texas and Oklahoma. Now, this frame is going to be by about 8 p.m. on Friday, May 1st. So we're heading towards, I guess, the heat of the day for a lot of these regions. And you can see for the eastern four corner states, and then also for Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, even up into the Dakotas, Minnesota, and Iowa, we're going to be dealing with well above normal temperatures that are probably 12 to 20 degrees above average for a lot of these regions. Let's take a look at what those actual temperatures would look like as a high temperature on Friday. And this is really important because a lot of people don't know what their average temperature is. And you could see for a lot of areas in western Texas, eastern New Mexico, as well as western Oklahoma there, we can see upper 80s into the 90s, and I'm even seeing some 100s there for a lot of the areas in western Texas. This is going to be very, very warm temperatures, very hot temperatures actually, and this isn't even the hottest temperatures we're going to see during this heat wave. This is actually one of the colder days. So let's go ahead and move on towards about Saturday evening, and you can see it's even warmer than normal there for Texas, Oklahoma, and New Mexico. So for the high temperature on Saturday, let's go ahead and look at those high temperatures, and you can see a lot more 100s, even 105 being picked up there for western Texas. Very, very potent heat wave here for a lot of Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico. Not necessarily unheard of heat for these areas, but definitely for this time of year, it's a bit early to be talking about those middle 100s and upper 90s for a lot of the surrounding regions. Very, very potent heat wave here. Now, we're about to move on towards about Sunday for about the morning time on Sunday, and then we're going to head towards the evening on Sunday. We're just going to take it day by day here. And as we take a look at about 8 a.m. on Sunday here, you can see a lot of those warmer than normal conditions have actually reached the eastern seaboard for a lot of the mid-Atlantic and the northeastern United States. Clearly, it won't be a heat wave for a lot of these northern regions. However, it will be a pretty decent warm-up, and it's going to lead to some quite nice weather for these regions that typically have lately been dealing with some colder than normal conditions. So, as we take a look at the whole United States as a whole here, I mean, at least 75% of the country here is dealing with warmer than normal conditions by about Sunday morning. I mentioned this in yesterday's video. It's going to be quite the pleasant weekend and early start to the week. Here we see a lot of those reds showing up. That's indicating 4 to 8 degrees above average for many, many regions here. Let's go ahead and take it to about the evening hours of Sunday, May 3rd, and you can see that a lot of those pinks and deeper reds return for the south central United States. So let's take a look at those actual temperatures once again, and you can see we're not looking at 100s by about Sunday, but we are looking at still well in the upper 90s for a lot of these regions, lower 90s for the more northern regions of Texas. We do have some more decent weather for Oklahoma and northern Texas, looking at 70s, which is a little bit of a switch up from previous previous days. However, it's still very, very warm, and a lot of these regions are at least slightly above average. We're also seeing those 80s and 70s reach into eastern Colorado, areas in Kansas, Nebraska, and also the Deep South is dealing with some 80s too. It's going to be quite nice. Some regions will be a little too hot, but some areas will be just perfect. All right, now we're about to move on towards about Monday, which is going to be the actual high point of the heat wave. So we're about to move on and take a look at how far above normal we could be, and then we're going to take a look at the actual temperatures. All right, and as you can see here, a lot of the northeastern United States has had some really below normal temperatures dig in, but for the deep south, the southeast, and the south central United States, we're still dealing with these big time above average temperatures, and even in those pink to brown shades, that's where we're far above normal, 12 to 20 degrees above normal there for northern Texas and through areas like western Oklahoma, very far above normal temperatures. Let's take a look at the actual temperatures, and again, that's Monday afternoon time, about the high temperature on Monday, May 4th. And you can see widespread 100s, at least upper 90s being very, very widespread, but we're seeing 100 to 105 degree temperatures there for a lot of northern western Texas, and then also western Oklahoma. So very, very long-lived heat wave. This is probably going to be about a 3 or 4 day heat wave where we're going to be dealing with at least upper 90s for these regions, possibly reaching into the 100s. A very, very legit heat wave for these regions. And I think that this will be going down as our first major heat wave for these regions of the year. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've dealt with temperatures this high for this prolonged amount of time so far this year. This might be the first one of the year for these regions, probably the first of many, because these areas do deal with these types of heat waves very, very often actually. So we're about to move on towards about Tuesday in the AM hours, and then we're going to take it all the way through maybe into Wednesday afternoon, and then we're going to start talking about the 5-day periods as a whole, just to take a look at what the overall pattern is going to be like for the beginning of May. And this frame's by about 2 a.m. on Tuesday, May 5th. And if you paid attention to what I've been saying for the temperature pattern moving forward, I said about May 1st through 5th is when we're going to be dealing with this warm-up for the southeastern and south central United States. Afterwards, I think a big cool down is going to come through. And sure enough, we're at the 5th at about 2 a.m. and you still see those reds and pinkish colors showing up. But let's take it to the afternoon hours of Tuesday, and it's clear there's going to be a pattern switch probably at some point during the day on Tuesday as we see the blues head in for the areas of northern Texas and Oklahoma, even the mid-Atlantic starting to get below normal. Really, only the southeastern United States are really holding on to these warmer than normal conditions. But as we take it, well, let's look at the actual temperatures first off, and you see 80 still for the southeast and the south central United States, but really northern Texas and Oklahoma dealing with 70s. The same areas that were dealing with temperatures in the 100s are dealing with 70s on the day for the high temperature on Tuesday. I think this could be an event where we see a very strong cold front come through, so we're looking for thunderstorms around Tuesday as well, May 5th. So be on the lookout for that. We could have another widespread wind threat that day. We'll have to obviously get closer because it's a bit far out to be talking about that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the temperatures compared to normal on the high temperature for Wednesday, and you can see the blues completely return for the eastern and central United States by that point, and definitely by the time we're at Thursday afternoon, it's the same story. So we're going to have this heat wave and then definitely a huge cool down that comes through and really just wrecks the whole pattern. And brings us into a very, very far below normal temperature pattern, which is just the two extremes for these areas. It's going to be a very, very interesting switch up. All right, now let's go ahead and talk about the 5-day chunks. So we're going to talk about the 1st through the 5th of May, and then we're going to talk about the 5th through the 10th of May individually. So here's the 1st through the 5th of May, and you can see definitely warmer than normal conditions for a lot of the south central United States and north central United States. Notice there is blues for the eastern United States, but there will be some short-lived times where we have very, very far above normal temperatures within all of the eastern United States. It just won't be enough to bring our 5-day average to above average because we're going to have some below average temperatures in between for the very eastern United States. But areas like western Texas, western Oklahoma, definitely going to be dealing with overall far above normal temperatures for that whole 5-day chunk. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the 5th through the 10th, and you can see a complete switch up in the pattern. Texas and Oklahoma go into the blues, and so does all of the central and eastern United States. A huge switch up in the pattern from the 1st through the 5th to the 5th through the 10th. All right, now let's get into our comment of the day, and I asked you guys what is the coldest temperatures you've ever experienced, and Mark Levine said early 70s in Madison, Wisconsin, grad school, UW, negative 27 with strong winds easily 20 miles per hour with higher gusts. Saw a guy go by on a motorcycle. So that's a very interesting story, and the thing, I love multiple things about this story actually. The first thing is that it was in the 70s, which was known for having extremely cold winters. We had very, very cold winters with giant Arctic outbreaks, those winters, all of the 70 winters basically. And then I also love the vivid details there. Saw a guy go by on a motorcycle. For a story that long ago, that's a very, very interesting detail to remember. I love vivid memories that you have in life like that. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, be sure to share with your friends, family, and social media. I will see you guys in the next video.